Welcome to our live webinar on school wellness policies. I am very happy to be here to present this webinar on the final rule of the USDA Local Wellness Policy as part of the 2010 Healthy Hungry Kids Act. I would like to inform you that Team Nutrition is providing this series of webinars to help you get started with your school wellness policy revisions. As you may know, on July 29th of 2016, USDA Food and Nutrition Services finalized regulations to create a framework and devise guidelines for written wellness policies established by local education agencies. The final rule requires all LEAs to begin developing and revising local wellness policies during the school year 2016 to 2017. LEAs must fully comply with the final rule by June 30th of 2017. A wide variety of research has demonstrated the positive correlation between health and learning, and those two things are mutually reinforcing. There's little disagreement, whether we're talking about improved nutrition or increased physical activity, that students with health-promoting behaviors perform better academically than those with poor health behaviors. Simply put, healthy students are better students. Though schools have always played a role in keeping students nourished and physically active. Because of our continued research and study, we're learning more and more about the opportunities to create a culture of wellness within our schools, as well as to persist hurdles and inequities that prevent it. For instance, we're learning more about the human brain and its connection to school wellness. Specifically, we're discovering the measurable neurophysiology, the role that nutrition and physical activity may play in improving academic achievement for all, not just some children, but all children. We're not expecting all of the local education agencies to start from scratch. We know that you probably have some version of a wellness policy within your district. However, our records indicate that in the 2010-2011 review, 99% of students that are enrolled in public school districts have a wellness policy in place. Studies show that not all children are benefiting from these documents since there is no reinforcement from the state level. It doesn't matter whether the wellness policy is strong or not because there are no rules for implementation, evaluation, review, or update of said policies. With the release of the Healthy, Hungry, Free Kids Act of 2010, there are new USDA regulations for local school wellness policies. These regulations expand on the requirements set in 2004, which primarily mandated the school simply to develop a policy. This act strengthens the requirements for the local school wellness policy and puts more emphasis on policy implementation, periodic review, and updates. As you know, schools play a critical role in promoting student health, preventing obesity, and combating problems associated with poor nutrition and physical activity. Local wellness policies are an important tool for parents, local education agencies, school districts, and the community in promoting student wellness, preventing and reducing childhood obesity, providing assurances that school meal nutrition guidelines meet the minimum school meal standards. The new regulations require districts to include the following elements and make sure schools implement the local policy, monitor and evaluate the policies, and periodically update the community on the status of the policy. The elements required to be part of the school wellness policy include public notification, nutrition guidelines, nutrition education, nutrition promotion, public involvement, and monitoring and evaluation, as well as physical education and physical activity. As I have mentioned, Nebraska Team Nutrition will provide more in-depth information about each element, as well as sample policy language and resources around each topic area. I would encourage you to join and view all of the webinars that covers each content area. This is a new comparison chart between the 2404 and the 2010 school wellness policy requirements. The Healthy, Hungry Free Kids Act of 2010 added a new section which expanded the scope of the school wellness policy by bringing additional stakeholders to help in the development, implementation, and review of the policy, and required public updates on the content and implementation of the renewed policies. USDA agrees that schools play a powerful role in preparing students for a successful future, and they believe that the guidance outlined in this final rule will further support efforts to create a school environment that teaches, supports, and engages students to develop lifelong healthy habits. Nebraska Department of Education and Team Nutrition recognizes that for the first few years of implementation may be a period of transition, as strengthening local school wellness policies may involve significant changes for some districts. During this transition period, Nebraska Team Nutrition will focus on providing guidance and technical assistance to help LEAs move forward toward total compliance. We would like to work closely with LEAs experiencing challenges to help them resolve these unique issues. In order to assist LEAs in implementing these requirements, Team Nutrition will continue to provide support to schools. This will include identifying best practices and success stories, and sharing other technical assistance materials, and will assist LEAs in developing, updating, and assessing their policies. Let's take a look at each element and compare the differences between 2004 and 2010. Public notification was not required as part of the 2004 reauthorization. However, in 2010, it is a required element, and you need to inform and update the public, including parents, students, and others in the community, about the content and implementation of the local school wellness policy. Measuring implementation in 2004 was only required to be established during the planning period, whereas in 2010, the implementation of the local wellness policy, including the updates unto which schools are in compliance with the policy, and to the extent which the local wellness policy compares to a model policy, and description of the progress being made toward obtaining the local school wellness policy goals. And finally, local designations are required to ensure that each school complies with the wellness policy requirements. We'll be discussing briefly an overview of the Nebraska Department of Education's monitoring of the school wellness policy process. During this presentation, and for the sake of simplicity, we'll refer to the Department of Education Nutrition Services simply as the state agency, state staff, or use the initials SA on the slide. How does the state agency assess or evaluate compliance? The first way is through the annual sponsor application. Question 43 asks for the date of the wellness policy, when it was adopted, or any amendments were made. Please make sure that this date matches the most recent updates of your policy. Question 44 captures or confirms information about 4 basic elements or requirements for the wellness policy. Does the policy include goals? Does the policy include nutrition guidelines for all foods? And does the policy ensure that meals will comply with the new meal pattern of the Healthy Hungry Free Kids Act? And lastly, does the policy have a plan to measure and evaluate the results? All 4 of these items will be discussed in this webinar, and they are scheduled in the next few weeks. The second way the SA assesses or evaluates compliance is through the administrative review process, which operates on a 3-year cycle. The Administrative Review, or AR, is a comprehensive evaluation of the school meal program and covers a variety of modules or areas. One of these is wellness. First, the district will provide a copy of the current school wellness policy, and the state will review it to determine whether the policy includes goals for nutrition education, physical activity, nutrition promotion, and other activities to promote wellness, nutrition guidelines for all foods available on the school campus, a plan for measuring implementation, designation of 1 or more officials in charge of school compliance oversight, And as mentioned in the previous slide, more information is discussed in depth on additional webinars available on the NDE website. There are 6 review questions that we will go over in more depth now. First, how does the public know about the school wellness policy? The policy must be available to the public. State staff will ask the district to describe how the policy is made available. For example, the policy could be on the public section of the school's website or distributed via email or other information methods in the back of a school packet or through a telephone call alerting families to the location of the school wellness policy. When and how does the review and update of the wellness policy occur? The school wellness policy must be reviewed and updated on a periodic basis. The SA will ask for documentation demonstrating how this requirement is being met. For example, if the policy was updated at an annual meeting, meeting minutes would need to be provided as appropriate documentation. A common observation when conducting an AR review is that the wellness policy does not reflect actual practices and advancements that are occurring within the school district, or that you're not giving yourself enough credit. For example, when the Healthy Hungry Free Kids Act regulation changed and the best practices began to be implemented by schools, the resulted language in the policy has not been updated to reflect these improvements in the nutrition guidelines practices. Compliance with the new meal patterns belongs in the wellness policy and models a diet rich in fruits and vegetables and whole grains. Menu marketing of your food service. Does your policy clearly describe and highlight the healthy, attractive choices that you're providing? Entree choice. Many schools offer a good selection of entrees, which brings more students into the lunchroom and allows them to eat foods based on their individual preferences, allowing them to eat better balanced meals. Most schools have implemented offer versus serve, which is a practice that supports positive, no-pressure mealtime and allows students to make choices from the offered menu. No longer are students forced to take one bite or eat foods that they don't care for. A la carte or smart snacks items for sale during the school day must comply with the calorie, fat, and sugar standards, and this also applies to vending machines that have been updated. All of these additional regulations that your school is following need to be included in your wellness policy, including fundraising activities and how schools can sell healthier options or switch to non-food items as they raise money. The addition of lovely self-service choices from fruit and vegetable bars fits perfectly within the wellness policy and should also be included and highlighted in your document. Many schools have other practices in place that recognize the different nutritional and feeding needs of students with regard to breakfast, including grab and go, breakfast after the bell, or breakfast after first period. The use of second chance breakfast recognizes that middle school and high school students get hungry later but still need to eat breakfast to have the best academic success. Schools that offer sack lunches for field trips are providing a benefit to the parents as well as the student, ensuring a convenient, fresh, healthy lunch, even on days when the children are not in the school building. Other examples of policy items already in place or items that your school might want to implement include recess before lunch, which has been shown by research as being successful to increase intake in meal items and decrease plate waste. Displaying attractive and educational posters in the cafeteria and school halls can spark student interest in nutrition and physical activity. Consistent messaging can help children make better choices. If no other practices are in place, such as no soda is allowed at sack lunches or no fast food being brought into the building or allowed in the cafeteria, these are good ideas to put into the wellness policy. Include them in writing and utilize the student handbook to distribute and highlight your healthy school practices to the whole school community. Who is involved in reviewing and updating the school wellness policy? Parents, students, PE teachers, school health professionals, food service, and other school personnel must be permitted to be included in the wellness policy revisions and updates. School board administrators, school board representatives, and the general public also must be permitted to contribute to the development, implementation, review, and update of the local school wellness policy. How are potential stakeholders made aware of their ability to participate in the development, review, update, and implementation of the school wellness policy? How are new committee members made aware of the opportunity and recruited to serve on the committee? You will be asked how to show documentation of these elements. For example, your school might indicate that they've sent out district-wide emails, posted flyers in various locations to notify potential stakeholders about the opportunity to serve on the School Wellness Policy Review Committee. The NDE website has a number of resources, including sample wording for outreach, and these will also be discussed further in additional webinars. Provide a copy of the most recent assessment on the implementation of the local school wellness policy. During a review, state staff will ask for a copy of the most recent assessment. NDE Team Nutrition has developed an assessment tool which will be covered in this webinar about how to further evaluate your current wellness policy. How does the public know about the results of the most recent assessment of the implementation of the school wellness policy? The assessment must be made available to the public. How this is done is up to each school to decide. NDE Nutrition Services also has templates and other resources to help schools accomplish this requirement. At the time of your review, provide a description or documentation to show how results are shared. That wraps up the information on wellness and administrative review. Further questions can be emailed to Zainab Rita. Her email is on the first slide for this wellness presentation. The remainder of this webinar will include detailing some of the resources you can access through Team Nutrition and the Department of Education to help update your wellness policy. Become a Team Nutrition School. This allows you to receive newsletters on health-related topics, get the latest and greatest resources from USDA, and it allows you to have information that you can directly copy into your school's newsletter, email blast, or social media posts. As a Team Nutrition School, you are able to apply for the Healthier U.S. School Challenge, a national wellness award that can get your school funds for their wellness policy efforts. You could be awarded $500 for bronze, $1,000 for silver, $1,500 for gold, or $2,000 for gold with distinction through this program. Show everyone the wonderful things your school is doing by promoting your wellness efforts with Team Nutrition. Signing up to be the Team Nutrition School is very easy. Just click on the Become a TN School link, enter the information needed, and submit it. All you will need is to add your school's name, address, and total enrollment. You can also search to see if you are already a Team Nutrition School by using the database on this slide. If you are a partner working with a school, you can check to see who their point of contact person is for their wellness efforts, or to see if they have signed up to be a Team Nutrition School. You can do so by entering the school's information in this search site. The Team Nutrition website is a great place for school wellness policy resources. You do not need to start from scratch or on any of your wellness efforts. Team Nutrition has examples of wellness policies, of wellness policy elements, success stories, and ideas for best practices, as well as grants and funding opportunities and ways to provide training within your school. The Team Nutrition website has many pages dedicated to model wellness policies for schools and partners to access. You can compare your current wellness policy with the approved model policies on this website to see what improvements you might need to make. Moodle has recorded presentations on each element of the school wellness policy and resources for each element here on the Team Nutrition page for the Nebraska Department of Education. This allows you to get background information on each element for the school wellness policy and allows you to receive continuing education units for school food service staff. Another good place for school wellness policy resources is right here on the Nebraska Department of Education website. During each of the school wellness policy webinars, we have added additional resources that can help further evaluate. When we communicate about the school wellness policy, do we need to include the non-discrimination statement? The answer? As long as it's posted on your website somewhere, or if your wellness policy is located on your website, you may use a shortened version of the non-discrimination statement. We have worked with the Alliance for Healthier Generations policy and used this as our model. Is this okay? The answer, yes. Alliance for Healthier Generation has developed a model policy available and is acceptable to use and located on the NDE website as well as the USDA website. Question: where is the shortened version of the non-discrimination statement? Answer: if you go to the NDE website, Nutrition Services, on the left side, you will click on the Forums and Resources section, where you will find a menu of topics. Click on Civil Rights, and it is located in this section. Question: is there a simple way to communicate a new Healthy Smart Snacks set of regulations? Answer: yes. USDA has developed a new brochure. It is available on the USDA website or through the Nutrition Services, and we can order some for you at no cost. Thank you for joining the webinar.